Good morning and welcome to TVN Press Talk. I am Daniel Atai, and with me on board is
Ade Dela. Good morning, Nigerians.
Okay, today we will be looking at the topical headlines on the Nigerian dailies. Ade, which one do you have there? Let's begin with that.
Okay, we have Tribune, Punch, Sun, and The Nation, and also This Day. But I think we should start from Tribune.
The Tribune.
The Tribune.
And on the Tribune headline, we have this at the top of the paper. We have my abductors sold me to herdsmen, freed Edo immigration PRO, freed Edo immigration PRO narrates ordeal, and you can find that on page what?
Page 4.
Page 4. Also, COVID-19 face mask use now compulsory in public places. Buhari signs order. That means the COVID-19 Regulatory Order 2021, the Health Regulatory Act, has been signed into law yesterday. Still, in the Tribune, you have the big headline: Nigeria in a state of emergency. Buhari tests new service chief. Nigeria in a state of emergency. And it carries some riders like appointment of service chiefs illegal without Senate approval, Falana. PDP asks ICC to probe, try sacked service chiefs. To probe and try sacked service chiefs. That is coming from the People's Democratic Party.
That story is found on page 2.
Yeah, that story is found on page 2. And you have before, and just above that big headline, that Lagos names 132 Ikbori housing unit after Fashola. Kwara governor assent to ex-governor's pension repeal bill. That means Kwara State governor has signed into law that ex-governors will no longer be paid, isn't it?
Yes.
Some allowances from the state. And you have VAT, that is VAT increased by 29.98 billion in fourth quarter of 2020. And that one is coming from the MBS.
That's the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, right?
Yes, Bureau of Statistics, Nigerian Bureau of Statistics. Below the big headline that says Nigeria in a state of emergency, Buhari tests new service chiefs, you have Army deploys 300 female combat soldiers to patrol Abuja-Kaduna highway. And below that, you still have 75 million recovered from ex-minister's wife. EFCC tears court. 75 million naira recovered from ex-minister's wife. EFCC tears court. If you want to know that ex-minister, I think is on page 25 of the Tribune. The Tribune carries a lot of headlines. Do you have anyone you want to read from the Tribune?
They're close to the picture of Buhari and Akeredolu right there. Is that?
Not Akeredolu. I think that is yes, Akeredolu and Oyo State Governor Makinde.
Okay, so we have insecurity. Akeredolu, Makinde, Oni meets Buhari, and there's a rider there that says Akeredolu seeks support to flush out criminals in Ondo State, in Ondo forests.
And Makinde demands more mobile police squadrons in Oyo, while Oni said insecurity should not be what?
Politicized.
Politicized. So 3 of them. While Akeredolu seek support to flush out criminals in Ondo State, in the Ondo Forest, Makinde say he demands for more mobile police squadrons in Oyo State, while only warned or advised that insecurity should not be politicized. You can get the Tribune. Also, you have at the below the picture again. You have Hunter ID card found with 13 armed men from Kebbi arrested in Ibadan. Hunter's identity card found with 13 armed men from Kebbi arrested in Ibadan, says police, and is on page 5, isn't it?
Yes.
On page 5 of the Daily
So
Tribune.
does that mean that Hunter's ID card, they have ID cards of hunters?
Yes, from Kebbi,
From Kebbi State.
Kebbi State,
and
the
they were
hunters
arrested in Ibadan.
Yes, that they are hunters. Yes, it's possible for people to hunt and migrate, just the way Fulanis migrate with their
So where
heads
what would they take the meat to?
Where would they take the meat to?
Where they are hunting? They sell it?
They sell to make a living.
They make
And
a
don't
living.
forget that some of the hunters too have been people protecting the areas of Kebbi and even Zamfara State.
So they left there to Oyo State.
Even in Borno, we heard that a lady hunter was the one
That
was,
led the
troops.
Yes, we understand that. But now, far away Oyo State, Kebbi and Oyo State, they don't share boundaries. They don't share forests. They don't share hunting grounds.
People migrate not from the southwest to the north. Normally, migration is done from the north
Upward, downward.
to the south. Why? Because in search of water, in search of forests, in search of so many things, that is how migration, history said migration is like this and not like this. You can't migrate from where you have abundance to where you don't have abundance. You migrate from where you don't have abundance to where you could find abundance.
So they have an ID.
things.
They have IDs on them.
Yes, they have identity card.
That means they can be. They don't have to be arrested. They can be traced.
They
They belong to an organization.
Yes, it is because of the suspicion already on ground and the several incitements by some notable persons, highly placed persons, for instance, like that of Father Kuka, Bishop Kuka. So some of these statements could politicize the insecurity situation in the country. You understand? And then people will begin to raise eyebrows, suspicions everywhere. Even if you are moving as a normal person, now like the Al Hassan, the Secretary General of the Mieti Allah Katahore said that anywhere Fulani goes, they tag them as criminals. That though yes, not all Fulanis are criminals, that yes, they have Fulanis who are criminals, and the only thing they want to do in that area of Oyo State is to ensure that they identify those ones who have registered as their members. I think that peace pact has been signed.
Now, come to think of it, this my abductors sold me to headsmen. Freed Edo Immigration PRO narrates audio. This issue that is going on with headsmen abducting people. Now look at another point. Another is coming and say abductors sold him to headsmen. That means the abductors are not headsmen.
They were not headsmen. They were abducted by persons known to him, or perhaps persons
Paid to.
paid to do that, and then sold him to herdsmen. And what would the herdsmen do?
Wait, so
with
headsmen now buy people?
him? That is another angle for
Because
the intelligence.
these things need to be investigated. Face mask is now compulsory. The face mask use now compulsory in public places.
Yeah, the act will be coming up by 2 p.m. on television Nigerian on Spectacle, where you watch what the president has said, the health rules, the regulations of COVID-19 rules 2021 signed under the Quarantine Act of the federal government as established in the Constitution. You will get to know what the do's and the don't by 2 p.m. today on Spectacle. Just stick around with TVN. Don't go away.
We have seen other countries enforce these things over time, and their people have complied. And now this is the second phase of the virus, and we are still talking about wearing of face masks.
Well, this is just health regulations.
Just health regulations.
Health regulations to quell the further spread. It doesn't mean that vaccines will not be manufactured. The government has approved 10 billion naira for the primary health, the Ministry of Health, to find a way around it and produce vaccines. 10 billion is small. If it is in naira, it's not in dollars. But I believe that if the sample is already gotten, and how do they call it? The virologists, they know how to get samples of COVID.
We are still
vaccines.
We are still talking about. That's my issue. We are still talking about getting samples, wearing face masks. When this virus has moved on.
You are talking about even vaccines and face masks. What about the National Assembly that have hurt the spending of that money? They even tagged it spending. Is it spending? If money is meant for utility, for production of something, is it spending or investment? You are investing into the health sector. So they tagged it spending, and the normal political bureaucracy has begun in the National Assembly.
Face to face and begin to
Now,
ask them.
they want to show their power that they must checkmate, that money must not be used first, except the Ministry of Health brings a breakdown why people are dying. Why can't you allow the Ministry of Health to place this money in the various facets of the health, from the secondary to from the primary, the secondary, and the tertiary? The primary is your primary health care facilities at the ward levels and local government.
But who released this
The
money?
secondary is the general hospital at the state level and perhaps local government level. Then the tertiary is the national hospitals and institutions of, medical institutions like LUT, Idiaraba, and so on. University.
Who released this money in the first place?
It's the federal government that released the money.
How did federal government release money without National Assembly going to a ministry?
The federal government wants proactiveness, and the National Assembly ought to align with that.
Now, the minister.
We're talking about safety here.
The minister now
what does it take the Ahmed Lawan, the Senate, or Gbajabiamila, Amila, the House of the Speaker of the House, to sit together, joint section, and approve and say go ahead? Now, if you want to know what this money will be, how this money will be utilized after 1 year or getting to 2 years COVID-19 presence in the country, you are telling me that as a lawmaker you don't know where this money should be implemented, should be appropriated? You should ordinarily know. And if you want a blueprint from the Ministry of Health, have you considered that people are already dying and there is no time? What about what happened to oversight? Oversight wherein after the appropriation and implementation, you come and oversight whether it has properly been used or not.
My question is that for Ministry of Health to have come out and say that 10 billion naira has been released for the manufacturing of local vaccines and testing of it. So how did that information jump the National Assembly to the Ministry of Health?
To the Ministry of Health?
Yes.
Jump from the National Assembly?
Yes, from the presidency.
First of all, the National Assembly is even on recession. The executive is not on recession. Are you getting what I'm saying? It is left for the National Assembly to call an emergency sitting, because it is allowed in legislation. When you call an emergency sitting, instead of passing that law, passing that assent that approval, they are now saying it must not be touched until they know how it is going to be used, how it is going to be spent, which means ideally the bureaucracy behind it is the usual norm of kickbacks.
Yes, they need the kickbacks from the money.
Anyway, let's go ahead. Well, what do you make of this bold headline from the president? Nigeria in a state of emergency. The president himself is telling the news service chiefs.
I don't think the president I don't know. Does he know what he's saying? We are not in a state of emergency. I don't think. When I saw this news this morning, I was perplexed, because if you want to charge,
is it that the president is about to declare state of emergency?
He said we are in a state of emergency. This is not we are about to be in a state of emergency. He said we're in a state of emergency.
And that means that is because of the insecurity issue. And if it is because of the insecurity issue, I'm talking about the number one citizen of the country. If
coming out to charge
the service chiefs. The service chiefs are answerable to Mr. President. He's the commander-in-chief. It is the service chiefs, ironically, or that are supposed to tell Mr. President that the country
is in a state
of emergency. Okay, you declare state of emergency on the country. Well, perhaps it is a charge for them to, walk around the clock, hit the ground running, and then quell the insecurity situations. But as the commander-in-chief, it is the whole box will still come back to him. The service chiefs do not have the power, the final authority of issuing any statement of or declaring any state of emergency in the country. It is the president that should do that, and I have the power to do that, isn't that?
He already did.
He hasn't. He only said it, that Nigeria in a state of emergency. Buhari tells new service chiefs. He's telling them
that we are in a state of emergency.
So what does that mean?
That's exactly what we're trying to talk about here.
That means
the president has come to tell the newly appointed service chiefs. We didn't hear him say that to the other service chiefs. These newly appointed service chiefs, they probably have made some things on ground, though they have been part of the system. But they are just been given these offices. And you coming to declare to them that we are in a state of emergency is like putting them on a hot seat.
Yeah, that is on a hot seat. But we will still do well to bring a security expert, probably, who could hook us. I
think
we
really need a security
expert. We can even open the line right now so that people who would want to react to that statement, or if we have any security expert online that wants to discuss that particular part with us, can call in
or send messages to us. Or
send messages to us.
We'll receive it.
The platform you are watching us, you can send message to us and then tell us your contribution. I think the numbers will be displayed on screen, but you can you can call via WhatsApp immediately. You can call us via WhatsApp to tell us on 081. If you are calling from abroad, it is a +234, the Nigerian code, don't forget, +234 81 37 01 5949. And then you can react from our social media platforms. We'll read it out here, but be civil in your contributions, and be civil in your comment as we deal with this issue. I did read that headline again, and let's see what the president means to the service chief, that Nigeria is in the state of what? Emergency. Buhari tells service chiefs. What does that statement mean? To me, is a charge, but from my understanding on the analytical and constitutional understanding, to me, is the president alone that can declare state of emergency.
He already did.
He hasn't. He only promulgated the law. He just signed a COVID-19
Because
regulatory
when I
law.
saw this news this morning, my heart jumped. I said, are we shutting down? Because the president saying this is different from any other person.
Yes.
You know, the president is deemed to be the chief
security
officer of the country, and he already must have seen things that are wrong with the other architectural system that we were using with the other service chiefs. So him to charge these people now, a security expert like Lawrence, we have to come and tell us one or two.
And they can call in and give us their take. We are ready to take
Look
the
at
calls.
appointment of service chiefs illegal without Senate's approval. Falana.
That is the bureaucracy, the politicization of security architecture.
Why should things go from presidency without passing the national assembly?
Service chief, the prerogative is directly vested on Mr. President,
yes,
and not the National Assembly. I have gone through it. Do you mean that you?
But the National Assembly, they are there to checkmate the activities of the president. If not, it becomes a totalitarian.
The security architecture of the armed forces, they say you are the president, commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Commander-in-chief of the armed forces. So he has the power to appoint without being checkmate. It is his exclusive and executive power, not legislative power.
Not subject to Senate approval.
It is not subject to approval. That is why he is the commander-in-chief.
So what's Falana saying?
Falana, there are segments of the law that the judiciary perhaps may need to interpret. Of course, you know the activism of Femi Falana, the son. You know how he does these things, but let him explain. I think the judiciary or the Attorney General of the Federation should come out and clear the air. This is beyond I and you. We are not constitutional lawyers.
Can the National Assembly summon the service chiefs?
For what? Are they commander-in-chief of the armed forces?
They are elected.
They can only invite. You can only invite. You can't use that word summon on the service chiefs. You can invite them. Like I said, the commander-in-chief, it is his honors. The power is vested on the president to appoint the service chiefs. And it is also his power, his jurisdiction to terminate them at any time, not the National Assembly. When clamors were on that they should retire them or change them, the National Assembly could only plead to Mr. President. We saw Ali Ndumi, the chairman committee on defense, on army, how he was begging. Even Lawan at one time advised the president. They could only advise the president. They don't have the veto, the power to say they appoint or sack. If it were them that have that power, they would have sacked the service chiefs, the ex-service chiefs long ago.
Let's quickly move on to the punch, please.
So nobody should bring, Falana and the rest should not bring controversy over this issue. It has been done, and let us forge ahead. The Punch newspaper. So you can call to react if any of the headlines, you have something to say about them. We have already dropped the phone lines on the screen for you to contribute.
And if you're sending your messages, be civil. We are going to read them and attend to them.
Buhari goes against judgment, bypass National Assembly. That's the service chief's appointment. You can see is already making headline. Nigerians are always politicizing everything without first studying the Constitution.
We are in a democratic society.
You see, it's a service chief's appointment. Buhari goes against judgment, bypasses the National Assembly. Now, what the media is trying to do here, it carries some riders. Let's see the rider. I said, They need confirmation, says Keyamo. Appointment not substantive, Falana. They can't get salaries, new post illegal, without Senate confirmation, SANs, that is SANS. And then another writer says, President not compelled to get National Assembly confirmation, declares presidency source, which is the right thing. Which is the right thing. You see, by the time people begin to throw tantrums into this service chief's appointment, they want to again bring another crisis between the executive and the National Assembly. I would only advise that when we are electing people to the National Assembly, we should elect people who are vast with legislative knowledge.
But most of them are.
No. I have not heard any statement from them, but I believe that they know their jurisdiction. They know the scope. They know their scope.
Aside from the limit fact that some of them are, some of them have legal practitioners as their aides.
People like Falana and the likes of it, who are trying to bring conflict into this service chief appointment, they better meet Attorney General.
But left to me,
for interpretation, or the Minister of Justice. Yes.
In a democratic society,
yeah,
such should not happen. The elected people,
my brother,
they are more important than the appointees.
When Donald Trump appointed his service chiefs or whatever, did you hear any Senate or Congress approval before
there must have been at least.
But it is not compulsory.
This is not compulsory.
It is not
but
compulsory.
Here we are still a young democracy we are practicing here. Everybody should be democratic. All our leaders should be democratic to the point where they will not usurp the other person's power. And they should even give the National Assembly more power.
The National Assembly is not the commander-in-chief, period. The commander-in-chief of the armed forces is the president. Let's take that interpretation from there. It is as simple as that. Still on page 2 of the Punch newspaper, still on the front page, it's been difficult keeping our promises, says President. It's been difficult keeping our promises, says President. We can't force Nigerians to take COVID-19 vaccine. Sultan, page 7 of the Punch, you can read that story. We can't force Nigerians to take COVID-19 vaccine. Sultan, which is correct. And groups back Soyinka as Nobel laureate, says Buhari, further dividing Nigerians. Group back, what page is that? Page 9.
That's on page 9.
Groups back Soyinka as Nobel laureate, says Buhari, further dividing Nigerians. You can see if people of great academic repute like Wallace Soyinka will not or could not define the division caused by Mr. President, but would rather go on the front page and make statement unbecoming of his status.
No, he didn't go on the front page and make a statement.
Like yesterday,
he went to an occasion and the pressmen accosted him, and what he said made the headlines.
Yeah, I watched him yesterday on AIT when he was in the morning through his Zoom handle, where he made a statement. And I told you guys that these guys are up to something, and they could create problem in the country with certain statements they make. He said the service chief were belated, though, but that is the president in charge. That is the president in charge. Buhari, that you know, he made a statement that they call him Baba Goslow but he moved slow but steady and never moved backward. So what kind of statement will be coming from a Nobel laureate asking the number one, the commander-in-chief, whether he's in charge? If he's not in charge, who accepted the resignation of the service chiefs? And who appointed the new service chiefs? And who is giving them directive on what to do? Who went to Ondo and Oyo to meet with Oni? Who is trying to solve the problem?
Well, he went to Ondo and Oyo to meet with Ondo.
Yesterday, they met with him. Who met with them if he's not in charge? Who invited them for a meeting? Who cautioned Bishop Kuka of incitement? And who cautioned, what do you call him?
When
the Oyo State governor and the Ondo State governor.
Is he in charge?
You say he was talking about the service chief, whether Buhari is in charge.
No, this is not a matter of meeting and meetings. Implementation.
Are the things not being done?
Some of them are not being done.
Like what?
Look at now.
Like what?
This headers issue. If I were to be the president, you see, as a leader of a multi-ethnic country, you should know that if you are a leader and there's a particular feud happening around your people, you need to come out and make a statement about it.
And
whether those things are justified or they are not. Are they founded on truth, or are they? If they are, then you deal with them. If they are not, you clear the air. It's just as simple as that. You see, these things make
let me ask you one question. We just opened the call and say people should call in. That statement and the charge to the service chiefs that Buhari said the country is in a state of emergency. Is that not a statement? It is that statement that still worries me and you right now here.
Yes.
Is that not a statement?
But is that a statement of someone that is in charge? For him to come and declare that it's a state of emergency, the service chiefs just left, and they said there was peace.
And you said here on this seat just now, you said that maybe he's charging them to meet up the task of their responsibilities.
Yes, he's putting them on the hot seat.
On the hot seat.
But the people that left there were not on the hot seat.
That shows that he's in charge.
They left there and said there was peace.
And Buhari has discovered that there is no peace.
He discovered there was no peace. He never charged the other ones that there was no peace.
But he's charged these new ones by accepting
that there's a state of emergency.
Yes, so that they can be on the hot seat, hit the ground running.
He's in charge.
We are beginning to interpret it ourselves.
He's in charge. Because if now the issue has not been pointed out, the main issue that is putting us as if we are
anyway, get the Punch newspaper and read all the headlines. You can page 2, page 5, page 7. You carry the headlines. We have already read about the service chief's appointment and the holabalos coming out from Senior Advocate of Nigerians and Falana and the rest of them. But the presidency has already told them that yes, it is their power. It is the presidential exclusive right to appoint without National Assembly's confirmation, because if you don't know the rules, the constitution at that level of position, I don't think you will be able to act without the constitution backing you. So I believe that action is constitutionally acted.
Below there's another story. It says FG evacuates 802 Nigerians from Saudi.
That is a Thursday, Friday. Which page is that? I can't see the page.
That's on page 11.
Okay.
Then I was abducted in church, sold to Fulani kidnappers, NIS spokesperson. This matter really needs to be investigated.
Yes.
Because
he was abducted in
a church and he was sold
to Fulani kidnappers.
So Fulani headsmen now buy people. I don't understand. I mean, the headsmen, do they now buy people to sell them back, or what do they do with them?
There is politics attached. There is saboteurs.
Now let's quickly move on.
DSS teams up with police, probes Oshun what?
Cops killing.
By operatives.
Yes.
Get the Punch newspaper. Let's move on. Move on to the Sun. The Daily Sun. The Daily Sun have the rider by at the front page. The Daily Sun says, Olu mayhem. We will resist making Igbo victim of circumstance. Ohaneze. Ohaneze said they will resist making Igbos victim of circumstance. That is Olu mayhem. You know the mayhem last
clash
week
between the
army
and the indigenous of that place
and the ESM. People
ESM.
perceived to be Eastern Security Network, being led by Nnamdi Kanu. New service chiefs vow to end insecurity. It has a rider, get Buhari's marching orders. We are in a state of emergency. President told them that we are in a state of emergency.
You see, this statement is actually repeating itself.
It's motivating them,
yes,
telling them, look, I have not declared state of emergency, but we are truly in a state of emergency.
You are seeing it as a motivation, Dan.
You said it here too.
No, I said he put them on the hot seat.
Yes.
Whereas the people that left the place left on a cold seat. They left comfortably. They left, though people were clamoring, but they kept telling us that there was peace and there was nothing happening. Now,
no, the fact is this: the service chiefs that left, to be honest, to be frank,
they did their best.
to be emphatic, apart from their best, they gave in their all.
Yes.
I have told you repeatedly, and I've told Nigerians that I, Danatai, for no reason, for no amount, no patriotic reason will make me carry AK-47, even as a soldier, under the condition of the armed forces, their emolument, their housing, their morale, and maybe my salary of how much to go and face bandits or face terrorists.
But that's what they're trained to do.
Well, you too could be trained to do that.
Even you, if you are trained to do
So-
that, you will do it.
Will you do it, you yourself, at that amount? So if we don't see the sacrifices
Yes,
of
they
people,
have made sacrifices.
we should not come out and be
They have made
talking
sacrifices.
nonsense
Yes.
here and
They
there.
have made
They are not
sacrifices.
working. Do you know what it means? Even ordinary Oka made.
If
Let
they
somebody,
give you-
let,
you know
can
how
you
it
shoot
is.
it?
Yes, you know how it is. Before you go and shoot
Let,
yourself.
let somebody
yourself
just
with
shoot
the leg.
Oka made where you are. And
You take off.
you take off. Not to go and face enemies with how much. And then they were able to reclaim 17 local governments from these guys. They were able to push them, decimate them, that they no longer have any stronghold in the country. You understand? You know how they came. They say caliphate, they want to build caliphate, and even the Islamic communities were confused and say, what kind of thing is this? From where are you coming? Burning churches, raising down even mosques,
Even flying their flags.
flying their flags up and down. We are too quick to forget
And
things in this
releasing
country.
statements.
They were releasing statements. The media will go take their
Yes.
statement, publish,
Publish
hail
it. Hail them.
You are hailing terrorists. Very, very unpatriotic.
Wear masks
of
and
us.
release statements.
Release statement threatening
Threatening
the
the government.
sovereignty.
Yes.
And then Boratai and his
All
men
those
came on
things,
board,
all those things.
dislodged them,
Dislodged them.
decimated them.
Yes.
I praise the Nigerian armed forces.
Yes.
I'm a patriotic Nigerian.
I also do.
I praise them to
My-
say they
my
were
problem
sitting
lies that
on the cold
the
seat.
president-
No, they were never sitting. It was that performance that made Buhari to allow them to have stayed 5 years. You know, you don't change a winning team.
Yes.
But because politics began to enter here and there, this is why he accepted their resignation.
And charge the new ones that we are in a state of
See,
emergency.
the longer you stay, the efficient you could
The more
become.
efficient you be,
the
yes.
more efficient
and
you could
effective.
become. And effective.
Because of experience.
Because of experience. We pray that these new service chiefs are not politicized, and let the outgoing service chiefs back them up
And
with
build on
all-
their existing protocols.
Yes, In fact, they have finished the work to me. Like I said yesterday, these ones are just here now to dot the I's and cross the T's. Let them do their work without taking any order from governors, any politician, without listening to the schemes on the faces of newspapers or on electronic medium.
But in as much as we know all these things that we're in a state of emergency, they should also do things and understand that they are ruling a democratic society, democratically free.
But the Constitution gave them the power to report to Mr. President. Look at what happened in Benue, for instance, during the death of Ghana. They said some politicians were saying, "Don't kill him. Give
him amnesty.
Give him amnesty. Give him to us." But the army acted within their power, within their constitutional power. You understand? So if they could be doing that, this new service chief could be doing that around the country, the issue of insecurity will be quelled.
But don't you think there's a risk? Now, let me give you an instance. If the service chiefs now, they need something, maybe like weapons, who will they go to? They will go to the president.
It is the president.
And the president will now order the National Assembly to release funds.
It is the prerogative of the president.
That's where the real bureaucracy will start.
The bureaucracy will start because if you budget, their money is going to the ministry, their budget, Ministry of Defense. It is the Ministry of Defense. Of course, you have the defense chief is also there now. So if the budget goes there, they know how to implement and utilize the fund. They also make their own appointment within their own military institutions. They know how to make their own appointment. They know who is who, what is what. Like I say, we have ex-military service personnel whose contributions, who the federal government have trained, have invested fund into. You can bring their expertise and then put...
What does the National Assembly want to do with the service chiefs? They want to question them?
That is why I said it is not within their power.
Does the National Assembly want to scrutinize them?
It's just like you go to a state and a governor is talking with, the governor is giving order to the security operatives like the police commissioner, and then the assembly is saying,
you have to let us know.
You have to let us know what you are discussing with you have executive meeting where every week they meet. The security operatives meet with the governor and not with the assembly members. So anybody who is deceiving the National Assembly that they should begin to pick a fight with the president, I can see that it's a scheme to bring a face-off between them.
So they should just silent.
They should just avoid it and maintain status quo.
And celebrate what the president has done.
Have done. In fact, commend what the president have done. Commend the outgoing ones to give their experiences to the new ones, to also put them through on what to do. Nobody is a child once you are a military man, isn't it? 45 military officers submit retirement letters, still in the Punch. We have reached millions of Nigerians through our cash transfer program. Minister, which minister is saying that? Go to page 7 of the Punch newspaper, you will see it there. And Igboho Masob fires IGP, says no group owns Nigeria. Igboho, that is Sunday Igboho. Then the Masob, who are the Masob?
That's the
movement for the actualization of
the sovereign state of Biafra.
Sovereign state of Biafra. Fires IGP, pays no group, says no group owns Nigeria. That is page 5 of the Punch newspaper. Of course, Nigeria belongs to all of us. Governor Bello gets Bill Gates backing on prioritization of healthcare infrastructure. You see, Bello has gotten Bill Gates backing
even Bill
on
Gates,
prioritization of healthcare infrastructure.
Instead of concentrating on the vaccine.
It has a rider as UN commends governor for promoting women inclusiveness in governance. So UN is commending him. See, you see, Governor Bello, Yahya Bello of Kogi State, he knows there are information available to him that he is hitting hard on Big Gate and this COVID-19 something. So this seems like a lobby from the UN. The UN commends Governor Bello for promoting women inclusiveness in governance. How many times has UN commended governors in the state here?
In actual fact, there are other governors that are doing more than that.
You understand?
With regards to women inclusiveness.
And then they say Big Gate. Governor Bello gets Big Gate backing on prioritization, priority of
healthcare
infrastructure, which is normal, because he was condemning the vaccine. He said his people will not take the vaccine. Why did he make that statement? Very soon now, maybe Bello could be made to compromise and bring his own vaccine to his people and say, start taking.
No, recently we even heard...
But the vaccine is good.
We heard Bill Gates advising Nigerian government not to concentrate too much on the vaccine and concentrate on developing the healthcare structures that we have.
Which is normal.
Which is normal.
But is it UN? And Big Gate is now the one that is backing.
Yeah,
that means
Yahya Bello also said the same. Yahya Bello also said there are no hospitals. Where would they give the vaccines?
So Big Gate will now sponsor this, especially starting from Kogi, isn't it?
Yes.
Big Gate will pump money now, isn't it?
Yes.
And then there will be healthcare infrastructure in Kogi.
No, this does not necessarily mean
Big
that
Gate he has been doing that. He has been pumping money to health facilities, Ministry of Health, all over the world,
yes.
All over the world. So there is no doubt.
But what's the relationship between Bill Gates, a tech guru,
because
and
the governor emphatically spoke against certain things, vaccine and COVID-19.
Bill Gates does not manufacture vaccine. He's a tech guru.
Bill Gates is not a tech guru only. He invests in vaccines. He has shares. I think he's one of the shareholders in all these vaccine pharmaceutical companies.
Because
in the US.
this thing is beginning
Pfizer,
is getting people worried.
Apart from Pfizer, so many pharmaceutical companies he invests. Bill Gates has normal, how do I call it? He has this love for vaccines and genetical production.
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates.
We know Bill Gates with Microsoft.
Bill Gates Foundation in time past have produced polio vaccine, even sent to Nigeria in the north, sent to the northern Nigeria. So we should leave that for another day. I think Bello has hit the jackpot. That is what I can say. And
for getting UN backing, and very soon now, maybe Bill Gates will come and visit him,
and then
or invite him over.
The last paper for us to round up, because all of them are carrying the same riders, is the This Day newspaper. CBN extends 5% interest on intervention fund by 1 year. Intervention fund, the 5% interest on intervention, it has been extended. And still on the This Day newspaper, you have Buhari reinvigorates war against insecurity, replaces service chiefs. It has other riders that you can check from the These Days newspaper. ACF, PANDEF expressed doubt over governors, Mietiala's pact. If Mietiala and the governors' pact, the peace pact, have any doubt, this day is bringing it out that Arewa Consultative Forum and the PANDEF, their counterpart, they are expressing doubt over the governors and Mietiala's pact. I think that is all we can take today on Press Talk on Television Nigerian. Do you have anything to say on the closing? No,
that's just okay. That's just okay.
I think you get the various papers we have advertised for you so that you can get to the details of the information therein. I have been Daniel Atai, and with me, my co-discussant in the studio has been
Ade Dela.
Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.